I was halfway across the world volunteering in a remote village when my phone rang. My stepfather's voice was smug. "I've sold your mountain cabin to settle my gambling debts. It's for the greater good, mine." That's what he said. He expected a meltdown. But I just replied, calmly, "I hope it works out." What he didn't know, that cabin wasn't quite what he thought it was. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, someone who thought they could walk all over you without consequences, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and prepare for one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear all week. I always knew my stepfather was a taker. Not just financially, but emotionally. The kind of man who saw kindness as weakness and thought manipulation was a form of power. My mom married him when I was 16. He never raised a hand to me, but his words could cut steel. Sarcastic digs, condescending tones, the constant eye rolls whenever I spoke about my dreams. The cabin, that was a gift from my grandfather. A secluded, wood-paneled haven nestled in the Rockies. He built it himself and passed it down to me in his will. It wasn't just property, it was history. Legacy. Peace. And mine alone. Years later, after college, I decided to take a break from the grind. I volunteered with a nonprofit in South America, building homes, teaching English, helping out where I could. I had no idea that back home, my stepfather had spiraled deep into gambling again. And worse, he'd found a way to forge documents, to claim the cabin as his asset. I remember that call so vividly. I was on the rooftop of a dusty hostel, the sun dipping behind the hills. I picked up, and there he was, already mid-monologue. No apology. No warning. "I've sold your mountain cabin," he said, smug as ever. "Needed the cash. It's for the greater good, mine." He even laughed. I felt my stomach drop. Not because I believed him, but because I could feel the final straw snapping. I replied evenly, "I hope it works out." That shook him. He stammered, as if unsure why I wasn't screaming. But I ended the call without another word. Here's what he didn't know. Months before I left, I had been advised by my lawyer to put the cabin into a trust. Not because I feared theft, but for long-term estate planning. The deed was no longer in my name, it was protected under a legal structure. Any forged signatures wouldn't hold up in court. In other words, whatever he sold, he didn't actually own. He sold a lie, and someone was going to pay for that. I flew back home 2 weeks later without telling anyone. I didn't go to my apartment. I didn't even call my mom. I went straight to the local records office. As I suspected, there was a fraudulent transfer attempt logged. He had forged my signature, filed a fake transfer, and sold the property to a private investor, an old poker buddy of his, apparently. It was sloppy. So incredibly sloppy. My lawyer couldn't believe it. We gathered everything. Every call record, every email, every document proving the trust's legal structure. We even pulled security footage from the notary's office he claimed I'd signed it, where, unsurprisingly, I hadn't set foot. My lawyer filed a motion. The sale was reversed. The buyer tried to sue my stepfather for fraud. The district attorney started sniffing around. But I wasn't done yet. You see, over the years, my stepfather had convinced my mother to refinance the house in her name, but used his gambling income projections to justify it. When the cabin deal fell through, debt collectors started circling him like vultures. And now, because of the legal trouble, no one wanted to help. He was radioactive. No one in the family wanted to even answer his calls. Eventually, he called me. Again. His voice was different this time. No sneer, just desperation. "Can you help me?" he asked. "They're trying to take everything." I paused, took a breath, then said, "I already did. I stopped you from going to prison. That was your one free pass." Click. Months later, my mom quietly filed for divorce. She never admitted it outright, but I think she'd finally seen him for who he really was. I paid off her mortgage behind the scenes, not to save her pride, but because I couldn't bear the thought of her losing everything for his mistakes. The cabin. It's still mine. I visit it every fall. Light a fire. Pour a glass of wine. And think about how calm I was during that call. Because power doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it just waits. The best part, watching him lose everything he tried to steal. He thought he was untouchable, like I'd be too soft, too far away, too passive to fight back. But I let the system do its work. No threats, no fights, just precision. His reputation, gone. His finances, crushed. His freedom, hanging by a thread. And the cabin, the one he thought he had stolen, stands as proof that justice, when patient, hits hardest. They say revenge is best served cold. But I think it's better served quietly, with the truth, with patience, and with the kind of calm that makes your enemies wonder how badly they just messed up. If this story made you feel just a little more powerful inside, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if someone stole your legacy? And remember, sometimes the quietest people deliver the loudest karma.